Fortunately, the Times in 1971 had as its general counsel James Goodale, whom I would like to introduce to present the next inaugural award, which is justly named for him. Jim is a true hero of press freedom. He prodded and led the Times first to fight and then to win the case and resume publication of the Pentagon Papers. We all owe a debt of gratitude to him. Jim didn't rest on his laurels after the Times defied Nixon, and he's still fighting for an independent and free press, freedom of speech, and lately academic freedom. As chairman of the Committee to Protect Journalists, he stood up for newspapers and reporters all over the world, and he has remained firm on controversial cases, including his defense of the whistleblower publisher Julian Assange. Good lawyers make journalists and publishers better. Great lawyers like Jim change the course of history. Please give a warm welcome to Jim Goodale.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I felt a little bit like Joe Biden getting up those steps, but I made it. Thank you, Rick, for this great honor to be named in my name and the First Amendment. But I have to stand here and tell you that this is one of the darkest periods, moments in the history of the First Amendment in this country. Think about this. Meta, ABC, CBS, X, and others have settled perfectly good First Amendment claims because Trump beat on them. This is true also of Columbia and Brown, particularly Columbia's settlement with the Trump administration is particularly egregious. Virginia and Pennsylvania joined that group. The verdict is out on Harvard and the California system. They're both fighting the case, but there have been rumors of settlement. Where is the outrage? The former Secretary of Education under Obama says, why don't the presidents of the universities get together as a group and fight Trump? The governor of Illinois says, why don't the Democrats get together and fight as a group? So I ask you again, where is the outrage? Is there any outrage out there? Don't worry about A.G. Sulzberger. He is a fighter for the First Amendment. He writes with a bite and he carries a big stick. Let me tell you a little bit about A.G. He burst on the scene. I'm not sure that's the right way to describe a Sulzberger, going over to the New York Times building where half of the people have the same name as you do, and they're all your cousins and aunts, but I'll stick with it, because he was given an assignment by the then editor to come up with a digital product, you know, Wordle, crosswords, soups, something like that. He came back and said, no, you got to take the whole thing, the whole Megillah, as they say here in New York, and do it over as a digital product itself. In other words, the whole paper. That set the footprint for one of the great achievements of our digital age, which is the success of the New York Times as a digital product. Last week, I'm glad you applauded, because I can get up here and talk about the First Amendment forever, but if there are no bucks behind it, it ain't going to fly. And I want you to know, if you didn't see it before, that when the New York Times reported its earnings last week, it had 12.3 million subscribers. Can you believe that? I come from an era, a long time ago, in which if you did $1 million or $1.5 million, that was thought to be pretty good. By comparison, the Washington Post does 2 million, and the Wall Street Journal does 4 million. New York Times, it's just amazing what has been done as a digital achievement. And the footprint, I want to say, was set by AG. Now, I do not want to be remembered for giving the First Amendment prize for commercial success. That would be unfair to all his sisters and aunts and cousins who helped make it a success, plus the absolutely fantastic professional staff. But he is the progenitor for all this. And more importantly, while the effort to create more circulation is a group effort, AG has distinguished itself by being the singular spokesman for the press on behalf of the First Amendment. I think that's a marvelous achievement. When he first came in as publisher of the New York Times, which was more or less 8 years ago, and wet behind the ears, he didn't stop for a minute to stand up to Trump. Trump asked him over for a private off-the-record meeting. It wasn't, because Trump leaked it, and Trump said that the New York Times pervaded fake news and was an enemy to the people. Sulzberger came back the next year and said, let's do it on the record. Trump did it all over again, and Sulzberger's response to that was, this is a very dangerous man. He switched in recent years to looking at the playbook that dictators such as Orban of Hungary, Bolsonaro of Argentina have used in intimidating the press. The playbook is all the same, he says. It is, first of all, intimidate the press. Secondly, sue them. And thirdly, buy out the opposition. He ran those thoughts in a Washington Post op-ed piece before Trump became president the second time. Warning, last May, he gave a major speech at the University of Notre Dame, and he said, it's happening. We're under attack. You better pay attention. Free people need a free press. That's a great line, by the way. And then more recently, he appeared before the group of investigative editors and reporters and said, hey, wake up. We're under attack. Defend our journalists. Defend our journalism. So, AG, where are you? I want to give you the James C. Goodale Award, but really the First Amendment Award. For three reasons. First, he has set out the playbook of what authoritarian dictators will do, and he has pushed it. Secondly, he has removed some of the gloom and doom that greets us tonight by putting out the New York Times in the fashion it has already been put out, whereby it's authentic, courageous, and without fear or favor. And lastly, I'm giving you this award because I want to encourage you to keep after Trump. We all know who the elephant in this room is. and with your tight prose, I hope that you will chase him out of this room, out the door, so that he never tramples on our First Amendment rights again.